Truly, it's true. The boy didn't even have the brains to keep himself from getting pregnant.
Archie, I've been trying to tell you.
Hey there, TV time travelers. Welcome back to The Famous File, your one-stop nostalgia trip where we uncover the real stories behind the iconic shows we all know and love. Today, we're stepping back to the early 70s to revisit a groundbreaking sitcom that changed television forever, All in the Family. All in the Family wasn't just a sitcom, it was a cultural phenomenon. It tackled taboo topics, broke barriers, and brought us unforgettable characters like Archie, Edith, Gloria, and Meathead. But what happened to the stars who brought these legendary roles to life? Let's find out. Carroll O'Connor as Archie Bunker. First up, we've got the man who practically defined lovable curmudgeon, Carroll O'Connor, who brought Archie Bunker to life. Archie was the heart and ahem opinionated soul of All in the Family. Whether you agreed with him or not, you couldn't deny his wit or his unique charm. Carroll O'Connor was born on August 2, 1924 in New York City, but he grew up in Forest Hills, Queens. A bright student, he initially dreamed of becoming a writer, even studying English literature at the University of Montana. But after serving in the Merchant Marine during World War II, Carroll realized his true calling was in the arts. He went on to study drama in Ireland at the University College Dublin and began acting in theater productions. He got his start in an off-Broadway production of James Joyce's Ulysses, directed by Burgess Meredith, the Penguin from Adam West's Batman TV show and Mickey from the Rocky franchise. Followed a year later by a revival of Clifford Odets's Big Knife. He would also appear in 20 movies between 1958's The Defiant Ones and 1971's Doctors' Wives. But his big break didn't come until 1971, when he landed the role of Archie Bunker, a working-class, politically incorrect but somehow endearing patriarch in All in the Family. The role wasn't just iconic, it was revolutionary. All in the Family wasn't just another sitcom, it was groundbreaking. The show tackled issues like racism, feminism, and politics in a way that no one had dared to do before. And at the center of it all was Archie, played masterfully by O'Connor. His performance won him 4 Primetime Emmy Awards and cemented him as one of the most unforgettable characters in TV history. While All in the Family was undoubtedly the crown jewel of Carroll O'Connor's career, his success didn't end when Archie Bunker hung up his suspenders. Carroll went on to prove that he wasn't just a one-character actor. He was a versatile talent with plenty more to give. One of his most memorable post-family roles was Chief Bill Gillespie in the TV adaptation of In the Heat of the Night. This series flipped the script on his earlier work, casting Carroll as a small-town police chief navigating racial tensions and complex crimes in the South. His performance was a hit, earning him a Primetime Emmy Award in 1989, and reminding audiences that he was far more than just Archie. Not content to just act, Carroll also stepped into the writer's chair, co-creating Archie Bunker's Place, a spin-off of All in the Family. While it didn't quite match the original's cultural impact, it proved that Carroll's talent for storytelling extended behind the camera as well. Beside his successful career, he also had a very successful marriage. After serving in World War II, Carroll headed to the University of Montana, where he became the editor of the student newspaper. But more importantly, it was there that he met Nancy Fields, the woman who would become his lifelong partner. Their love story didn't start with glitz and glamour, but it was the beginning of something truly special. Carroll left Montana to help his brother Hugh enroll in medical school in Ireland. While there, he himself enrolled at University College Dublin to study European history. His original dream was to become a history professor, not an actor. But fate had other plans. Nancy graduated and joined Carroll in Ireland, and the two tied the knot on July 28, 1951. Despite Carroll O'Connor's successful marriage to Nancy and his remarkable career, life wasn't without its challenges. The most devastating blow came in 1995, when Carroll's only son, Hugh, tragically died by suicide after a long battle with drug addiction. This loss was not just heartbreaking, it was life-altering. Carroll became a fierce advocate for substance abuse awareness and mental health support. He channeled his grief into action, even pushing for anti-stalking laws after discovering that a toxic relationship had exacerbated Hugh's struggles. Carroll used his platform to speak out about addiction, calling it the scourge of society. He wasn't just raising awareness, he was fighting to prevent other families from enduring the same pain. He helped establish initiatives to support people battling addiction and their loved ones, proving that his strength extended far beyond the screen. Carroll retired from acting in the late 90s and spent his later years with his wife, Nancy. Sadly, he passed away in 2001 at the age of 76 due to a heart attack. But his contributions to television and his fight for important causes live on. Jean Stapleton as Edith Bunker. Edith Bunker, the heart of the Bunker household, always cheerful, always kind, and always one step ahead of Archie when it came to life's big lessons. And the woman who brought her to life, Jean Stapleton, was nothing short of extraordinary. Jean Stapleton was born Jean Murray in 1923 in Manhattan, New York, to a family with artistic roots. Her mother was an opera singer, and her father was a billboard advertising salesman. From an early age, Jean was drawn to the arts. She studied at Hunter College and worked as a secretary while honing her craft in local theater productions. Before TV came calling, Jean Stapleton was a bona fide star on the stage. Norman Lear first discovered her talent in Comden and Green's Bells Are Ringing, directed by Jerome Robbins. She also wowed audiences in Broadway classics like Damn Yankees alongside Gwen Verdon and Funny Girl with Barbra Streisand. Though she never won a Tony, she earned an Obie Award in 1989 for her off-Broadway performances in Harold Pinter's The Birthday Party and Mountain Language. And let's not forget her stellar turn in the 1986 revival of Arsenic and Old Lace, where she shared the stage with fellow TV icon Marion Ross. But it was in 1971 that Jean Stapleton truly became a household name. Norman Lear cast her as Edith Bunker in All in the Family, and the rest is TV history. Edith wasn't just a simple housewife. Thanks to Jean's masterful portrayal, she was the emotional anchor of the show, using her gentle demeanor and unexpected wisdom to navigate Archie's antics. Jean's performance earned her 3 Primetime Emmy Awards and 2 Golden Globes, cementing her place as one of television's greatest actresses. After All in the Family, Jean continued to shine. Jean retired from acting in the early 2000s, but her influence remained. Jean Stapleton was also a devoted wife and mother. She married William Putch, a theater director, in 1957, and the two collaborated frequently. Their marriage lasted until his passing in 1983, and they had 2 children, both of whom pursued creative careers. Despite her fame, Jean always remained grounded and focused on her craft rather than the spotlight. Sadly, she passed away in 2013 at the age of 90. Edith Bunker remains a beloved character, and Jean's work continues to inspire generations of performers. Rob Reiner as Michael Meathead Stivic. Let's talk about the one and only Rob Reiner, who played Michael Meathead Stivic on All in the Family. As Archie Bunker's liberal, outspoken son-in-law, he gave us some of the show's most iconic debates, blending humor with social commentary. But Rob Reiner's story is more than just Meathead. This guy's legacy goes far beyond All in the Family. Rob was practically destined for stardom. Born in 1947 to comedy legend Carl Reiner and singer Estelle Reiner. Growing up in the heart of Hollywood, Rob was surrounded by creativity and entertainment. But he didn't just ride his dad's coattails, he paved his own path. After attending UCLA's film school, Rob began acting in the late 60s, landing small TV roles before hitting the jackpot with All in the Family in 1971. On the show, Michael was the perfect foil to Archie Bunker, idealistic, passionate, and always ready to challenge Archie's old-school views. Rob's performance didn't just earn laughs, it earned him 2 Emmy Awards. And while the world loved to call him Meathead, Rob was anything but. He left the show in 1978, ready to take on bigger challenges. After leaving All in the Family, Rob reinvented himself as one of Hollywood's most successful directors. Ever heard of This Is Spinal Tap, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, or A Few Good Men? Yep, those classics are all thanks to Rob's genius. His directing career skyrocketed, and he became a force in Hollywood, not just as a filmmaker, but also as a producer and writer. But Rob didn't just stay in the entertainment lane. He became heavily involved in politics and activism, using his platform to champion issues like healthcare reform, early childhood education, and fighting against political corruption. Let's just say Michael Stivic might be proud. Today, Rob is still a powerhouse at 77, staying active in filmmaking, producing, and advocating for causes he's passionate about. He's also been outspoken about social issues on Twitter, where he's not afraid to stir the pot. Rob has frequently made headlines for his fiery Twitter rants and bold political opinions, especially during election years. He's been accused by critics of being divisive or overly partisan, which has occasionally overshadowed his career accomplishments. Beyond his political controversies, Rob also faced scrutiny in 2006 during his tenure as chair of California's First Five Commission, which focuses on early childhood development. He championed Proposition 82, a ballot initiative to fund universal preschool through a tax on the wealthy. While the cause was noble, critics accused him of using taxpayer funds to promote his own political agenda, calling it a conflict of interest. Rob ultimately stepped down from the commission amid the backlash, but the experience didn't seem to dim his passion for advocacy. Now let's take a closer look at Rob Reiner's personal life. In 1971, Rob married actress and director Penny Marshall, best known for her role in Laverne and Shirley, and for directing iconic films like Big. They were Hollywood's power couple for a while, but the marriage didn't last forever. The two divorced in 1981, remaining on friendly terms and even collaborating on projects later in life. Rob also adopted Penny's daughter, Tracy, from a previous relationship, and they've maintained a close bond. In 1989, Rob found love again with photographer Michelle Singer, and the two have been happily married ever since. They met while he was directing When Harry Met Sally, and apparently it was love at first sight. Together, they've raised 3 children, Jake, Nick, and Romy. Rob has often said that becoming a father changed his perspective on life, influencing both his personal values and the kinds of stories he chooses to tell. Family is clearly a priority for Rob, and his kids have followed in creative footsteps. His son Jake, for example, has worked as both a journalist and an actor, while Rob himself continues to advocate for causes close to his heart, like early childhood education and family welfare. What's your favorite Rob Reiner moment, on screen or off? Let us know in the comments.
Sally Struthers as Gloria Stivich. Let's move on to the outspoken and endearing Gloria Stivic, played by none other than Sally Struthers. Sally brought humor, heart, and a bit of sass to the role of Archie's fiery yet lovable daughter. But Sally's life wasn't all sitcom laughs. From her childhood dreams to her rise to fame and the challenges she faced, Sally's story is as layered as Gloria's arguments with her dad. Sally Struthers was born on July 28, 1947, in Portland, Oregon. She was the daughter of a surgeon and a homemaker, and as a child, she always had a flair for the dramatic. It wasn't long before young Sally set her sights on showbiz. After graduating from high school, she moved to Los Angeles to study acting at the Pasadena Playhouse College of Theater Arts, where she honed her craft and stood out as a budding comedic talent. Before landing her iconic role on All in the Family, Sally was already making waves in Hollywood. She showcased her comedic timing and energy as a recurring dancer and performer on the Smothers Brothers Summer Show and the Tim Conway Comedy Hour in 1970. Around this time, the pert-nosed, blue-eyed, curly blonde cutie was also building her filmography. She offered ditzy but memorable support in the Jack Nicholson starrer 5 Easy Pieces, 1970, and shared the screen with Steve McQueen and Ali MacGraw in the thrilling chase film The Getaway, 1972. Then came All in the Family, the game-changing sitcom that cemented her place in TV history. As Gloria, Sally brought humor, warmth, and an unmistakable spark to the role, earning her 2 Emmy Awards. Gloria's progressive ideas and passionate personality often clashed with her father's old-school views, creating some of the show's most powerful and hilarious moments. But after 7 seasons, Sally, along with co-star Rob Reiner, decided to leave the series to grow beyond their well-loved TV personas. While Reiner stepped into the director's chair and began crafting some of Hollywood's most iconic films, Sally continued to explore her craft as an actress. Sally made her Broadway debut in Wally's Cafe in 1981 and returned to the stage 4 years later in a gender-bending adaptation of The Odd Couple. Meanwhile, Sally also made a name for herself in TV movies throughout the 70s and 80s. From the suspenseful A Gun in the House, 1981, to the poignant drama And Your Name is Jonah, 1979, She demonstrated her ability to shine in both topical and lighthearted roles. Other notable projects included Aloha, Means Goodbye, 1974, Hey, I'm Alive, 1975, and The Great Houdini, 1976. One of the biggest moments that caught the public's eye came when Sally became the spokesperson for Child Fund International, a nonprofit organization focused on helping children in need around the world. While many appreciated her passion and dedication to the cause, the commercials she starred in became the subject of numerous parodies. In fact, the earnest, emotional tone of the ads was often poked fun at, with many people mocking her tear-filled appeals on TV. This kind of backlash didn't sit well with Sally, but she continued with her advocacy, staying true to her mission even if it meant being the punchline of some jokes. Another bit of controversy came in the 90s when Sally found herself involved in some personal scandals. Her reputation took a hit when she faced legal issues over unpaid taxes. She was reported to have owed a substantial amount to the government, which caused quite a stir in the media. The incident prompted some to question her financial management, especially since she had been so vocal about her charity work. While Sally's personal life has been relatively quiet compared to her career, she's been honest about her struggles with aging in Hollywood. Like many women in the entertainment industry, she's had to deal with the challenges of maintaining a public image while dealing with the natural process of aging. She's mentioned in past interviews that she doesn't mind the aging process, but she has faced some difficulties in finding roles as she got older, something many actresses face. Sherman Hemsley as George Jefferson. Sherman Alexander Hemsley was born on February 1, 1938 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, into a working-class family. His father worked at a printing press, and his mother worked in factories during the war. Now, Sherman didn't start out dreaming of acting. In fact, his first experience came during school plays, where he played a fire in a play about fire prevention. But after dropping out of school, Sherman joined the Air Force, where he served before eventually moving to New York City. In New York, Sherman worked the graveyard shift as a post office clerk while pursuing his acting dream during the day. He joined acting workshops and theater companies like the Negro Ensemble Company, where he learned his craft. Sherman made his Broadway debut in the play Purlie, which led to him touring for a year. But his big break came in 1971 when legendary producer Norman Lear reached out to him about a role on All in the Family. His breakthrough came in 1971 when he was cast as the fiery, self-made businessman George Jefferson on All in the Family. George was initially a supporting character, but Sherman's performance was so strong that he got his own spin-off, The Jeffersons, in 1975. And let's be real, who could forget George's famous catchphrase, "We're moving on up"? Now, Sherman's performance on The Jeffersons was so outstanding that he earned a Golden Globe nomination. The show ran for 11 seasons, making it one of the longest-running sitcoms of its time. But when The Jeffersons wrapped up in 1985, Sherman didn't slow down. He went on to star in the sitcom Amen, where he played Deacon Ernest Fry. The show ran for 5 seasons, and Sherman continued to showcase his comedic chops. But that wasn't all. Sherman also made his voice acting debut in 1991 on the live-action puppet show Dinosaurs, where he voiced Bradley P. Richfield. The show became a hit, running for 4 seasons. In the late 90s, the cast of The Jeffersons reunited for a special, and Sherman continued to appear in guest spots on shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and House of Pain. Sherman Hemsley's work didn't just make us laugh. It also tackled serious issues with humor and heart, making him an unforgettable part of TV history. Sadly, Sherman passed away in 2012, but his legacy lives on. Following his passing, Sherman's estate became the subject of a bizarre legal battle. A man named Richard Thornton came forward, claiming to be Sherman's brother and challenging the validity of Sherman's will. This delayed Sherman's burial for months, leaving fans shocked and saddened by the public spectacle surrounding someone who had brought so much joy to their lives. Thornton's claim was eventually dismissed in court, and Sherman's longtime business partner and close friend, Flora Enchinton, was declared the rightful beneficiary of his estate. While the case didn't reveal anything scandalous about Sherman himself, it did leave a cloud of unnecessary drama over his memory. After The Jeffersons ended in 1985, Sherman continued acting in both TV and film. though none of his post-Jeffersons roles reached the same level of fame. He appeared in sitcoms like Amen and made guest spots on shows like Family Guy. But as the years went on, Sherman kept a relatively low profile. In fact, he didn't do many interviews or public appearances, keeping most of his life private. Isabel Sanford as Louise Jefferson. Last but not least, Isabel Sanford. When you think of Louise Jefferson, you think of grace, wit, and someone who could go toe-to-toe with George without breaking a sweat. Isabel Sanford brought this iconic character to life, but her journey to stardom was as inspiring as it was challenging. Isabel was born in 1917 in Harlem, New York, as the youngest of 7 children. Sadly, life wasn't easy. Her father passed away when she was a young child, leaving her mother to raise the family alone. Even as a kid, Isabel was drawn to performing, and her natural talent shone through. But her mother wasn't exactly thrilled about her acting ambitions, insisting that Isabel focus on a more stable career. Thankfully, Isabel followed her passion anyway, performing in local theater while working odd jobs to make ends meet. Her big break didn't come until much later in life. Isabel moved to Los Angeles in the late 1940s and started landing small roles in film and TV, but it was her standout performance in the 1967 film Guess Who's Coming to Dinner that put her on Hollywood's radar. Isabel played the housekeeper Tilly, holding her own alongside legends like Sidney Poitier, Katharine Hepburn, and Spencer Tracy. It was clear, Isabel Sanford was a force to be reckoned with. Then came 1971, and everything changed. Isabel was cast as Louise Jefferson on All in the Family. Originally a supporting character, Louise quickly became a fan favorite, thanks to Isabel's ability to bring warmth and sharp humor to the role. Louise and her husband George, played by Sherman Hemsley, were such a hit that they earned their own spin-off, The Jeffersons, in 1975. In 1981, Isabel became the first Black woman to win a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. Off-screen, Isabel was known for her kind and down-to-earth personality. But her life wasn't without its challenges. Despite her success, she faced the same industry-wide discrimination that so many Black performers of her era dealt with. In her later years, Isabel continued acting, appearing in guest roles on shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and even reprising Louise Jefferson in TV specials. However, by the late 1990s, her health began to decline. In 2004, we said goodbye to Isabel Sanford when she passed away at the age of 86 due to complications from surgery. Her legacy, though? Absolutely timeless. As we look to 2024, we see the lasting impact of All in the Family on both television and pop culture. Though the cast may be scattered, their influence is still felt today. So, what's your take? Did you grow up with All in the Family? Which character's journey surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an update. Until next time.